Russia, early 2005. The country is just coming out of the New Year fog. The garlands are flashing in the dark. The irony of fate is on the screens. People yawn, drink tea, and hang over. The streets smell of wet snow and tangerines. It's as if the holiday has stayed in the corners of the apartments. But far from the cities, in the Siberian wilderness, winter is real. Bitter frost, blizzard, and silence. Here something shocking happens, which grade even experienced operatives. Koma, a small village in the Pribaikalsky district. A few streets, a couple hundred inhabitants, a paramedic station, a school, and a club. Those who could have left. Left those who have nowhere else to go. Everyone knows each other. In one of the dilapidated houses, a tragedy is brewing that has become one of the worst in Russia's criminal history. January 2005. For the first time, Russians officially received a long New Year's vacation as a gift. It would seem to be a joy, a whole week without work, time to visit relatives, go sledding with children, watch old movies, eat salads. But for many, especially in places like Koma, it's been a disaster, a whole week with nothing to do. No plan, no meaning, just alcohol, TV, and silence. Vasily Bushtarenko was 28. On his passport, he looked 40. Face gray as ash, wrinkles as if carved with a knife, eyes empty, no spark. He was born and raised here in Koma. Ever since he was a kid, he's been tough. Those who remember him say he was sullen, silent, vindictive. His mother died when he was 5. They say from illness, but more whispered, drunk. His father didn't grieve for long. He quickly brought a new woman into the house. She was rude, with a nasty laugh, the kind of woman who raised him with a fist. They both drank. Often. Little Vasya hid in the barns, ran away to the neighbor's house at night, knocked on their windows, asking for food. Sometimes he'd sit by the school fence and just stare into the snow. Then his grandmother took him away. She was a tough, stubborn woman with a temper. She got an allowance, went to the offices. She did the best she could, but what had grown in the child over the years could not be burned out. He didn't study. He fought. He stole little things. Nearly set fire to the barn once, playing with gasoline. Teachers dismissed him. Neighbors were afraid of him. When he turned 20, he drank heavily. No work. They wouldn't take him to a sawmill. The collective farm refused to hire him either. It's dangerous with him, they said. He lived on occasional part-time jobs and constant anger. Anger was his fuel, his raison d'etre. And then, in this deaf, viscous void, she, Anna, appeared. Anna Baizova had just turned 18 when she became Vasily's wife. She was thin, shy, with round eyes and perpetually slumped shoulders. Her life before that had been characterized by neither joy nor warmth. Her father drank. Her mother was like living in an aquarium. She saw everything but did nothing. She was silent, like furniture. At school, Anna was quiet. She didn't excel, but she didn't fail. She sat by the window, drawing in the margins of her notebook. Sometimes she stayed in class longer, just so she wouldn't have to go home. Teachers felt sorry for her, but nobody interfered. In such families, everything is their own, no strangers allowed. And then, the certificate, graduation, and the family immediately said, marriage. No questions asked. Vasily seemed grown up to her, serious, gloomy, but reliable. He could speak firmly. He could hold his gaze. He had the look of a man who could stand up for himself. To Anna, that meant everything. She fell in love quickly, not with him, with the illusion of protection. A month after the wedding, they moved into the old house left by Vasily's grandmother. The house was ramshackle, with gnarled walls, a stove that smoked, and a floor that creaked with every step. It smelled damp, like a cellar. But it was their home, their beginning. She hoped things would be different. A year later, Alexei was born, small, blonde-haired, a warm lump who laughed in his sleep. She stroked his cheek and said to herself, "Everything will be different now." But there was no money. Noodles, water from the column, diapers, one a day. She sewed clothes from old pillowcases, washed them in a basin, melted the stove every day. Vasily drank more and more, at first to relax, then to forget himself. Sometimes he would just sit on a stool and stare at the floor for hours without moving. And then Ruslan was born, his second son. He didn't bring happiness, only fatigue, another mouth, another reason not to sleep at night. Anna hardly ever went outside. The neighbors looked askance. Some whispered, "She must be beating herself up." Others, "It's her own fault." But no one came, no one asked. The house slowly rotted away, not in fire, but in silence, in despair. December 31st. It's a holiday in the village. Who has a Christmas tree? Who has a bowl of Olivier? Who has moonshine and a fight? Vasily has darkness. He was beaten up on the main street, 3 men. Nobody knows exactly why. Some said he was hitting on another man's wife. Others said it was a dispute over alcohol. Maybe he just looked at it the wrong way. He came home with blood on his face, broken lips, eyes that were no longer human. He fell to the floor. He lay there. Then he started drinking. Everything. Tinctures, industrial alcohol, some homemade stuff from his neighbor's garage. He drank silently, in gulps, like he was burying himself alive. On the 3rd day, he stopped talking. He just moaned. His eyes were empty. On the 5th day, he started raving. Anna told me later how he looked at the wall and whispered, "They're coming. I can hear them, behind the stove." He was awake, shaking his head, spitting, screamed. On the 8th day, he ordered them to kneel, all of them. "Pray!" he shouted. "There's devils in the house." He threw things, tore sheets, stuffed pillows in the windows. Said the old woman with the scythe was behind the closet. His voice went from a hoarse whisper to a shriek. He would put the children in front of the wash basin. He made them repeat prayers. He didn't know which ones. He spoke in fragments, confused the words. Anna begged him to let them go. He yelled, "They're in you!" Vasily himself later explained his actions as hallucinations. An old woman with a scythe, devils, and the like. Anna was prompted to run for help by another act of Bushtarenko. He, according to the woman, forcibly put little Alexei's hands on the spiral of the electric stove. Anna pushed the bloodsucker away, turned off the stove, and threw it into the street. "I went home. I wanted to dress the children and take them to my mom, but he wouldn't let me," Anna said. She could not call anywhere. There was no phone in the house. Anna ran to her neighbors for help, but no one opened the door for her. Besides, it was a holiday. In despair, the woman rushed to Vasily's cousin, Andrei Prokopyev. Together they returned to the house. There a terrible sight awaited them. Vasily, like a log, put the baby Alexei in the oven. The child was already burning and crying loudly. The skin was literally melting. Anna snatched her son from the flames and ran with him to the neighbor. Andrei hit Vasily, trying to calm him down. Only after some time did the woman realize that her youngest son, Ruslan, was nowhere to be seen. The policeman who arrived at the scene of the crime found his charred corpse in the oven. A criminal case was opened against Bushtarenko. Investigators said that he had been previously prosecuted for theft and drug possession. Vasily himself claimed that he remembers almost nothing, only fragments. How he put icons in the wash basin, forced his family to pray, and prepared for prayer himself, being sure that something was about to happen. The victim, Alexei, with burns to his head, shoulders, hands, and upper respiratory tract, was rushed to the district hospital in Turuntayevo. After first aid, he was airlifted to Ulan-Ude the next day. Later, the boy's hands of both hands were amputated, requiring a number of urgent and complicated operations. The cry for help for Alexei spread all over Russia. Concerned citizens and organizations from all corners of the country sent money for his treatment. However, the child's mother, having gained access to a large sum of money, began to spend the money on herself. She bought expensive clothes, furniture, organized feasts for the whole village, and continued to drink. The sudden enrichment seemed to make Anna's mind go crazy. At the same time, the only official income of the family was Alexei's disability pension, 3,000 rubles, as well as donations from people. The boy, in need of constant care, clean bandages, and nutritious food, turned out to be of no use to anyone. His wounds were festering. He was often left hungry. It was only after the intervention of the guardianship authorities that Alexei was sent to Moscow, where he underwent further surgeries and began the rehabilitation process. When Vasily was taken away, he did not resist. He was walking barefoot, in a stretched sweater, covered in soot and blood, with an unfocused gaze. He spoke in a low voice. He kept repeating the same thing. "I didn't touch them. They came themselves. They told me to." The investigators who had operated in the organs for decades were dumbfounded. One of them would later say, "I've seen it all. Rape, jealousy murders, drunken stabbings. But something like this is out of line. It's like it wasn't done by a human being." Forensics confirmed the blood was a hell of a mixture. Alcohol, industrial alcohol, acetone, solvent, traces of some cheap psychotropics. Probably a mixture of a pill the neighbor was taking and a pharmacy tincture. We couldn't determine the exact composition, but the result is the same: severe delirium, hallucinations, a complete escape from reality. He could see devils, he could hear voices. He could believe he was burning evil, not a child. Alexei survived, but at the cost of impossible pain. He was taken to a district hospital, then to a national hospital. The burns were so deep that the doctors decided to amputate his hands. His airway was damaged. The skin on his chest was charred. He was kept in an induced coma so he wouldn't suffer. Dressings, surgeries, painkillers. Every day was a battle for another breath of air. Fundraising has begun. A report ran on TV, short but punchy. People all over the country transferred money. Pensioners, 100 rubles each. Children, 20. Everyone wanted to help. It seemed that if there was a chance to clean up even a piece of this horror, it was through Alexei's help. Alexei. He didn't cry. He just lay there, breathing hard. His wounds were festering. He didn't call out, as if he knew no one would come. When the guardianship authorities got involved, it was too late, but not fatal. Alexei was still alive, emaciated but alive. He was taken away, immediately without a word. Bureaucracy was pushed aside. There was a direct order: save him. He was transported to Moscow. There he went into intensive care, then to the Institute of Reconstructive Surgery. The best doctors. Quiet rooms, cleanliness. For the first time in his life, real care. He was cared for. He was fed by the hour. He was read to, talked to him. They asked him what he wanted, and he just nodded, or didn't say a word. Months passed. He was fitted with prosthetics. He learned to open doors with his shoulder, to eat with his chin, to pee, first with his chin, then with his nose, slowly, painfully. But he learned. He was taken into care by a foster family from the Moscow region. He went to school. He learned to play chess, invented a system for getting around the house. He was respected. He didn't complain. He didn't whine. One time he told his new mother, "I have hands now, just different ones." Anna lives in Ulan-Ude, remarried, gave birth to 3 children. She tries not to remember the tragedy, or pretends not to remember. She doesn't talk to journalists, answers questions briefly. It's all in the past. Vasily did his time. He was given the full sentence, but some of it was reduced for insanity. After he got out, he disappeared. Some say he was seen in Omsk. Others say he died at a construction site. No confirmation. Alexei forgave, truly. He visits his mother, sometimes. A journalist asked him in an interview, "How can you? I mean, they are." Alexei replied, "Dad didn't know what he was doing. I forgave him. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to live."